Hello, we're here for Kids Art, and we decided to go virtual today because it was raining and there were some daycares that didn't want to come to the library, and there is some sickness going around town. The kids are home. There's a lot of COVID in school, so we decided to keep them home, and we're going to be painting pumpkins today. So I've kind of decided to go ahead and put two of the kids art classes together since I have a couple of them coming up. Today's was painting patty pan squash, which is this white squash, or kind of a cool and unique shape. And so we didn't have any extras left over. I went ahead and delivered them to all the kids that were going to be participating, so they probably already went ahead and painted their pumpkins. But if you haven't, here is just our demo of what we decided to paint for ours. So mine, I went ahead and made sort of a lion looking pumpkin, and Ella is going to paint hers to look kind of like a flower. So each of these have sort of individual spaces, and so she painted this last night, and then we're going to add the detail on it. She's going to add the shape in with black, and so she's going to go ahead and get started on that. David, do you want to hold yours up and just show what you painted on your patty pan squash? So he made some kind of a crazy face, and so he's going to add on. It's a what?
It's a pig.
Crazy pig face. Okay. He's going to go ahead and add on some googly eyes, and so he has those ready to go. We like to use Weld Bond glue. It sticks really well. You can use the Elmer's glue as well, the regular school glue. It just takes, in my opinion, it takes a little bit longer to dry and isn't quite as sticky. And this way these probably won't pop off. So anyway, Weld Bond glue. You can get that at a hardware store. So Dave's gonna go ahead and add those on. And red paint? Yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute, Dave. So to make this lion, you just need some yellow, orange, and black paint, and it's very simple. So each of these little shapes, we did the orange for the ears, obviously the yellow around the outsides, and then for the eye shapes you would use your black paint. And so if you see the shape of this eye here is like, if you turn it this way, it looks kind of like a teardrop shape. So sort of downturned teardrop shapes, and then I just left a little oval type shape in there for the eye. I didn't even paint that. The rest is black, and then a smiley face with some lines through it. So that is your how-to for the lion if you decide to go in that direction. We also had some orange pumpkins. We ran out of our patty pan pumpkins, and so we had some orange pumpkins donated as well, and so we did some painting on those. So this is David's. He's also going to add some googly eyes to this. And so we're just using acrylic paint, and we have just a couple of different kinds here. This is Apple Barrel, which is a fairly inexpensive acrylic paint. You can get this pretty much anywhere, Walmart, or I'm sure on Amazon, maybe even the dollar store probably has this as well. And then this is the Master's Touch acrylic paint, which I use this for my canvas classes as well, but it's a nice thick brand, or nice thick paint, and I like the brand, and you can get this at Hobby Lobby in Aberdeen. So various different colors. We also used some, so for Ella's flower here, we used orange. Yes, you may start painting. Some orange, pink, and yellow. And so for our painting supplies, we usually use these styrofoam plates to go ahead and put the paint on. And then we of course have our paint brushes. We have little containers filled with water to rinse out our paintbrushes as we change from one color to the next, and of course some paper towels for cleanup and to help dry out our brush if we have too much water on our brush. Ella also did a pumpkin. I'll see if I can scoot this over here. She made a face on this pumpkin. And then, so we're gonna go ahead and show you Ella's flower. So she got her black detail added on there, and we're gonna let that dry. And we have two other ideas that we had for our pumpkins. And we used spray paint for our pumpkins.
Mom, this was mine.
So we used two different spray paints. This one was a white, it's a Rust-Oleum. We used the satin, and then this is a metallic. So we'll go ahead and you're gonna use that one.
But I choose that one.
So this is our pumpkin that we spray painted, and we let that dry, and it's kind of a gold shade, and we're gonna be adding something onto that. Everybody has their own idea of what they're gonna do. I'll go ahead and start with this one, and we also spray painted one white, so I'll show you that one next. So my thought with this one is to just add some glitter to it. And I know not everyone enjoys working with glitter, but if you do, here is what we're gonna do for that. So I'm gonna take, I have some Mod Podge on my canvas here, and then we have some paint brushes. So I'm gonna go ahead and just apply some Mod Podge to the top of this pumpkin. And so this will dry clear. And you could do your whole pumpkin if you chose. You could probably go ahead and just paint glue on your pumpkin as well if you wanted to. So I'm just gonna be sprinkling glitter to the top portion of this pumpkin. And maybe just go down a little bit in certain areas. We'll see what we come up with. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my brush in water there so that it doesn't dry out. And, sorry Ella, thank you. We have some blue glitter. And this actually has kind of a sprinkle top, which I prefer, otherwise it tends to dump out all over the place. And so we're just gonna add some glitter to the pumpkin here, and I'm sure that we're gonna have
Good idea, Mom.
glitter everywhere. Okay, so there is my golden pumpkin with my sparkles. I think that looks kind of cool. And who knows, we may even decide, I don't know, to me this is almost kind of looking like hair, so maybe we'll end up adding a face to this later. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and set this off to the side, letting that dry. And then we also spray painted some pumpkins white. And so those patty pan squash actually came to us white, so they were all ready to go. And for this, I'm gonna go ahead and make a face on this, very simple face. And I will go ahead and turn this way a little bit. I'm gonna use just black paint because I kind of like the idea of the contrast. So I'm gonna turn this to face me, and then I'll turn around to show the camera. So I'm gonna start with some eyes, and what I'm gonna do for that is just make some black circles. And they won't be perfect because you have those ridges in the pumpkin that make it hard to make perfect circles, right, Dave?
Mm-hmm. That's why I put googly eyes.
Good idea. All right. All right, so I just made some black circles. Almost looks like a ghost. You could probably just leave it just like that if you wanted. And Then I'm gonna do a nose.
Mom, do it right there because that has a little spot there.
It does. I think I want a smaller paintbrush though, which is not there.
Like mine? It's right in there.
No, that's not it either. I did grab a smaller one, but I don't know what I did with it, so. So, I'm gonna make this work. So for the nose, I'm gonna do 2 little lines, kind of thick lines. And then for the mouth, I'm gonna make a big squiggly mouth, kind of like I made my lion. All right, so I have my mouth on there, and then I'm gonna add those lines onto this one as well, just like I did on the lion. And then I have one more example that I'm going to go ahead and show you as well. And we use, it looks kind of like a spaghetti spaghetti squash type shape, but they're much smaller. So here is my white pumpkin. He is painted and ready to go, so I will set him off to the side as well. And these guys are still painting their pumpkins. And I'm gonna go grab the final one, and that one is, again, kind of like a spaghetti squash shape. So Ella did point out to me that we painted this guy green, he was yellow. She said, well, now it does look like a squash, because you could just get a green pumpkin or a green squash and paint that. So I kind of like that this one had busted open, and so we thought maybe we'll try out doing
Can I do a face on it?
Well, I'm gonna do one.
Face?
Yeah. The idea was to do Frankenstein. And so I might add.
You said a zombie.
I did think about doing a zombie too. So I'm actually just going to use a black Sharpie for this. And so up on the top, and I may end up painting this in. Yeah, probably will paint it in, because the Sharpie isn't super dark. But what I did is create some squiggly lines, and then I'll probably go ahead and paint that in. And then, so the top of his head has this rounded shape on it, and then the eyes are below that. And so it's not showing up quite as dark as paint might, or if it was a white pumpkin. So I'm gonna go ahead and just color that in with my black paint. And then you'll want to add eyes, and what else does Frankenstein have? He has like those scar marks.
Yeah. And he has the ears thingies, doesn't he?
Sure, yeah, I'm not sure we'll add the ears unless we stick something into the side of the pumpkin. We could certainly do that. My paint is apparently not quite dry because it is sticking to my hand. All right, so we have that, and then we have the eyes, which would be below. his forehead. I'm probably gonna paint those eyes in like white.
Mom, do you have any glue that I can use for sprinkles?
Yes, in a minute.
Okay.
Actually, here's the Mod Podge if you want to do that. So make sure your paintbrush is dry, and then you can add that Mod Podge, Ella. So I'm just adding in kind of a squiggly mouth, like so, and then we need to add in his like scar marks. So that's similar to how we did that mouth. You do a straight line and then add in these dash marks, kind of like that.
Mom,
I'm gonna
isn't
rinse.
this the stuff for the trees that we made?
Yes, it is the Christmas tree one that we did. So I rinsed out my brush. I'm gonna get some of this white paint and then paint inside of those round black marks that I made for the eyes. I will wait for this white paint to dry, which is always the hardest part of any pumpkin, is waiting for everything to dry so that we can add on the next layer. All right, so I painted in his eyes white, and then what I would do is paint black inside of that, but since my paint isn't dry, it's just gonna get kind of gray. So I'm gonna let him dry, and then that will be my Frankenstein with his scar mark over here. And that's pretty much our kids art session for today, and then also for this weekend. I decided just to kind of record it all in one session, since who knows what's gonna happen and if we'll be able to do kids art in person this weekend or not. So anyway, there's just a few ideas for painting pumpkins, which we like to do every year. We also do some carving, but this is maybe an easier way to decorate pumpkins, especially if you have wee little kids and they're not quite ready to use the big knife to carve out
How do you do this?
the insides and whatnot. We also have another kids art session planned for the end of the month, which we'll be doing some 3D spider webs, and I'm planning that in person. That is for October 30th on a Saturday, and just check out the J. Eberly Co. page and you can get some information on that. As always, the Kids Art Program is in part sponsored by the Ellendale Area Arts Council and the Ellendale Area Community Foundation. So thanks for participating, guys, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks, or if you're coming for Kids Art this weekend to paint pumpkins, we'll see you then. Thanks. Bye, guys.